That's how we inspire the next generation of dentists, Zara, by TikTok.
Well, to be fair, that's probably true.
I think it is.
Look how fun it is.
A lot of people like, please be like tagging their best friends in our video, being like, please be a dentist so I can do this to you. I don't know if licking your best mate's hand while she's trying to do like teeth is the best way to inspire dentistry, but whatever works.
If it works.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Know Nothing. Today's guest is my best friend, which she probably hates to realise sometimes. Dr. Nortley is a dental surgeon and aesthetic clinician who runs her own clinic up in Manchester. After qualifying in dentistry from King's College London in 2013, Dr. Zara Nortley immediately started her journey in aesthetic medicine. So welcome to the studio, Zara. We've been talking about you coming on my podcast for a long time, actually, to talk about a lot of different things. And both of us just have crazy... We can't even socialise, like get a time in to socialise. So getting any work thing in was
this is
impossible.
it. Like this is our socialising for the month.
Yeah.
You realise that?
Oh, it actually is.
Yeah, that's really sad.
And
cool.
like the only other time I get to see you is when you're having your fingers in my mouth. She's looking at my teeth.
Stop saying
I need to like word it better.
Every time.
Without context, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, she injected me. Yeah,
I do.
Cool.
I should add context before I'd say these things. Obviously, you're on my TikTok as well. It's like me. That's how we inspire the next generation of dentists, Zara, by TikTok.
Well, to be fair, that's probably true.
I think it is.
Look how fun it is.
A lot of people like, please be like tagging their best friends in our video, being like, please be a dentist so I can do this to you. I don't know if licking your best mate's hand while she's trying to do like teeth is the best way to inspire dentistry, but whatever works.
If it works.
But you've been a dentist for
10 years.
I mean, you don't look old enough to be a dentist for 10
Thank you
years.
so much. It's this face stuff.
I'm not being that nice because I know that she's going to be holding a sharp utensil in my teeth next time I go to the dentist.
Yeah,
but no, you have been a dentist for 10 years and you recently posted pictures actually of you, is it just after you graduated or your first day at uni?
Yeah, so there was one just after we graduated. So on the results day, they give you this badge that says Dr. Zara Nortley on it. And that's like the epitome of like success at the end of this 5-year course. So,
I was going to say, how much did that badge cost you?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. 7 years of uni.
For a badge,
literally.
But one thing that I was always really surprised about is that even when I go, like, I always find that on social media you can find anything, and even when I go on social media, I cannot actually find that many black women who are dentists or work in the same field as you. And you know, at uni you must have noticed that, right?
A little bit,
just a bit.
Yeah. So I think in my year I was one of 3 black females. One of them was actually from the year above, but she'd had to take some time out. And the other one was another graduate entry. So technically in the year that I joined, there wasn't a single black female and no black males in my year.
And it's really weird because dentistry is actually one of the most competitive fields to get into at university. So like that is and isn't surprising at the same time. Yeah.
I think, so my dad's West African and my mum's Jamaican Caribbean. I think in African cultures, West African cultures, there's a lot of push. You're going to be a doctor, an engineer or a lawyer, and those are your 3 options and that's it. And I don't know if there's as much kind of interest in dentistry. Like personally, I fell into dentistry by accident, and I'm not taking anything away from the competitive nature of it because I had to work really hard once I decided that's what I wanted to go into. But there was definitely, it's not a career path that I'd even considered based on kind of everyone around me and what they were doing and what I was encouraged to do.
Do you think that's potentially the reason why there wasn't that many black people in your course?
Quite possibly. I know it was suggested when I did start that I was fulfilling some kind of quota, which is quite hurtful because I know I had to work hard to get in. But yeah, because I think in the kind of medical world there is a lot more diversity. But yeah, I'm not so much in dentistry.
Do you think do you think schools are doing enough to try and encourage? I always say like people of color, but I know that there's probably so many Asian people in dentistry, right?
Yeah. So I'd say maybe 90% of our year group had an Asian background.
Okay.
Maybe even a little bit more. Like when you see at the back of our hoodies, there are a few surnames that come up, and the people with those surnames actually thought it was hilarious because you'd get one Smith and then you'd get a load of Shahs and then another name, which is, they thought it was funny. So I think I'm allowed to also find it funny. But yeah, there wasn't really as many other groups, I suppose. And as I said, even fewer black.
Do you think 10 years on much would have changed?
Potentially. If people keep watching our TikToks, we might be okay. But I agree. I think schools could probably do a lot more, because dentistry is not really talked about as a career option, I don't think, for many. If you're into your sciences. No, same. It's not something that was ever discussed at school. And I think, if you've got a kid that's interested in sciences, it's worth talking to them about it.
Yeah, because like my mum was part of it took a little bit of the same stance as your dad. I was either going to be a lawyer, a doctor. I actually don't think engineer was in it for me because I was a woman, but I don't like blood.
Well,
there's less there's less of it in dentistry though, isn't there, than there is in other medical.
I don't know, I think we see, sorry.
No, I mean, it's fine. I'm just wondering what's come out of my mouth now.
No, you look after your gums, so not so much. Yay, thank you. But no, there's a fit. I mean, I suppose my real job is dental surgeon, and that's because we do a lot of very minor surgery.
Well, okay. Well, look, I was going to say, otherwise I would have become a dentist. If I could go back to school, I'd be a dentist. Now you've said that to me.
Yeah, you
maybe
did the
not
right
so
thing.
much. Yeah, going down the law route is probably the best thing for me. But you also do facial aesthetics. And that's kind of one of the big things that I want to talk to you about, because obviously Love Island is on at the moment, and we know that every single year, particularly when it comes to female contestants, there is always a Google search. If you put in any female contestant's name, it will be before and after surgery.
Yeah.
Even if they've never had anything done. And there's always a conversation that Love Island and social media contributes to an increase in aesthetic inquiries. Did you ever see that personally for yourself when Love Island is on?
Yeah, and I think based on the industry that I'm in anyway, it's something that I am quite interested in. So if there is something shared, I want to kind of have a little sneaky look and see. But it's a shame that we as a group of people are just so obsessed with knowing what people have done. And I think it's not even interest for the sake of knowing. It's more just so that people can bash other people for it. And there is, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of really bad work around that I think we've all seen, and people associate that bad work with the whole industry, whereas people can underestimate how often or how many people have actually had any treatment done, because it's been done subtly, naturally.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Like when you sit there and compare people, and you think, well, this person's had loads of work done just because it might be a little bit more obvious than somebody else's. I know that firsthand. And, you were the person who had done my lips and does my Botox and things like that. And I'm not ashamed to say that, I've done these things and I've come through a whole journey. You're even the person that did my dissolving. We did have a good laugh about that because my mouth was 4 times the size when it came to dissolving.
Yeah, dissolving's interesting, isn't it? It's got to get bigger before it gets smaller.
Yeah, but mine literally went 0 to 100 straight down to 0, and I had no time to process anything. I think I rang you the next day and was like, you didn't tell me that my face was going to look like an old man ball sack. Why didn't you warn me?
It's not language I would have used, that's all.
She would have put it a little bit more diplomatically than that. I don't. I think that's one thing you've learned about me, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's, what people often don't realize is that there is that period where any dissolving agent is going to dissolve. So fillers are a natural product, essentially. They're a synthetic version of something that's natural. So dissolvers can't tell the difference between the filler and any natural hyaluronic acid in your
I can tell you
so,
that.
it will disappear for a couple of weeks, just a week or so, and then come back.
Yeah. Do you for you, there's a lot of conversation about medical practitioners injecting versus non-medical practitioners. Mm-hmm. And, we've gone to an event together to talk about why it's important that you go to a medical practitioner, because there's parts of your face that only you guys will have been taught to understand better than anyone else? And do you think that maybe that's why, because it's so unregulated, do you think that's why we're seeing so much bad work done in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think regulation is going to play a major part in safety and just kind of, even the cosmetic results of facial aesthetics. And this is not me saying, I am not saying that non-medical providers don't do great work. I've seen some really beautiful work by non-medics. But personally, I know that I can provide aftercare. I know that if there's any emergency in clinic, I've got access, I can prescribe. I've got all the background training for any kind of emergency. And so I know that I can deliver a certain standard of care. I also know that I can't just disappear. My name is registered somewhere. I can't just stop answering. Unfortunately, with you, I can maybe stop answering your calls. But
I can get up to your flat, so maybe not.
No, this is true. You know where I live. Oh, damn it. But I ultimately, I can't disappear. And I'm pleased that I can't disappear.
No, I think as well, one thing that I've learned with medical practitioners that you guys do as a part of the service that maybe non-medics do is that you also think about the reason why, even you to me, friend on friend and professionally have had the conversation with me about, I don't think you should do this. Maybe you've had enough. Maybe you should slow down a little bit. And, you've even turned around to me and said, I think the first time I asked you to do my lips, Zara said, quote unquote, as much as I would love a new handbag, I'm not going to touch your face. And I was like, damn, okay. Which was fair. I was too young.
Yeah, definitely.
I was far too young. And I think that was me being influenced by social media.
Yeah.
And very poor partners in my life at the time.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because the whole body dysmorphia thing, it's so deeply ingrained in my mindset. Whenever I'm doing a consultation, it's just there. So I don't even think of it as being something that I offer as a kind of separate service anymore. But it's so important to assess someone's kind of mindset psychologically before doing any kind of treatment. Even though they're reversible, it's still really important.
Well, you say they're reversible, but sometimes if they go wrong, then they're not, aren't they?
Absolutely. There are definitely some quite horrific,
And I think one thing that I found really hard is that when there is a bad story and, it was a non-medical practitioner that did the bad work, Love Island always gets linked to it. And unfortunately, my name comes into it as well.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So they always, when there's sometimes articles and they're like, Love Island contributes to X, Y, and Z. And then I remember one particular time seeing an article with my name attached to it that I had no...
I remember that one.
Yeah, and I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I was casually just scrolling and I saw your face. I was like, oh God, what's she done now?
It has nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything. And to be able to... And I think that hurt me. Because now I'm in a position that, journalists ask me all the time, am I going to get any more work done? And I can't sit there and say, I will never, because I don't know what my face will look like in 10 years' time. You will. But nobody else, but I don't know. So I can't sit there and say never. But now I'm like, if I do, because if I feel self-conscious about something and I want to get it done, am I now a bad person? Am I now a bad role model? Mm-hmm. Am I now going to be splashed all over the press for being this advocate for women, but also tweaking myself to fit beauty standards?
That's the thing, because you know me, I'm feminist to the roots of me, but I think people very often confuse feminism with... Feminism's all about us doing what we want to do and being able to do what suits us. It's not about fitting into a box and wanting to wear, I don't know, big baggy clothes all the time and not brush our hair. And I think it's really important that people remember the difference. If you want to do something that makes you feel good and is safe, of course, then go for it. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
what people fought for.
I will always be open about anything.
Yeah,
you know me, it's pretty much an open book.
Bit too much.
There is nothing that's off limits, apparently, as much to the dismay of my friends and family. I'm sorry, I've probably put this woman through many years of trauma in the last 2 years. So I'd always be very open about it, and I will always be safe, and will always have you to do things, and because I know that if it ever gets too much or I ever get to the extreme, you'd be like, no, and I would never go to anyone else, and neither would our other friend in the group chat, who is convinced that she wants something done, but we'll never let her do it.
How long has she been asking? 6 years or something.
Probably a little bit longer. I think for as long as we've been friends, she's been asking.
It's not happening.
She's going to listen to this.
If you're listening, we are not doing it. It's not happening.
I would rather lay down on Heathrow runway than let you do that. Like, it won't happen.
Yeah, no,
but please don't. But like, we've had this like little bits of conversation about Love Island and, you know, the trauma that I feel like I've put you through for the last few years. It was never intentionally meant to be like that.
No.
For people that don't know, Zara actually managed my social media while I was in the villa. And, you know, over the last 2 series, obviously we got the first summer series with a social media ban, and we had the first winter series with a social media ban. And I've been not very actively against it because I understand the thought process behind it. But I think, like, for example, when I left the show and the press tell you, like, you know, this is what happened, I was very visibly upset. And I think the first thing I thought about was you guys having to, well, particularly you having to have looked at my socials, because my family are so off grid, it would never have affected them.
Yeah.
And so I understand completely the rationale, but, you know, what I saw was pretty horrific. So, and you deleted the worst of what I'd received. So do you think that the social media ban is the right decision?
I think it's a tricky one, because I can absolutely, I mean, yeah, it's a difficult show to go on, like, admittedly. And yeah, people say, oh, well, you chose to go on it, blah, blah, blah. But
you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. Exactly. I didn't. I was in the comfort of my living room. I don't know. I think the general public seem to think that if you put yourself in the limelight, then you should have to deal with the consequences of it. But I think people have forgotten how nasty people have become. And now that people can just sit behind their screens and just type all sorts of really horrific things, like the boundaries have just been completely blurred with what's okay and what's acceptable and what's just like I can't even put words together for it. Some of the stuff, honestly, Sharon, it was disgusting. Yeah,
because the stuff that I saw put me into a very emotionally deep, dark hole. And I got more upset because I was like, if this is what I'm reading, what were you guys reading?
So luckily, I know technically it was me dealing with it all, but there were a couple of us that I'd like send stuff to. I was like, whoa, dude, what is this? And surprisingly, it wasn't even the kind of teenagers that were writing horrific things. It was big grown people.
Really?
Yeah. So one of our mutual friends ended up searching one of these people and found them on LinkedIn. And it was like an actual grown up person saying, I don't know if am I allowed to say?
You can say, yeah.
Saying that you should kill yourself because, and it wasn't even the part that, it wasn't even when things blew up and you had an argument or anything on the show. It was just over something really stupid. And it's like, whoa, you're an actual adult dealing with other people and you think it's okay to message a complete stranger.
I can't decide if it's better or worse that they've at least put their name to what they're saying. At least they're brave enough to say it with chest. That's how I feel. Like, if you're going to tell me something like that, at least put your face to it. But the fact you go search one LinkedIn, you're lucky I didn't see it because I'd have sent that straight to your employer.
We were unsure.
You're lucky I was in the villa. I'd have sent that straight to your boss.
I'm like, give people one chance. I don't know why though. I don't know.
Do you know, this is going to make me sound old, but it's like back in the day.
Old.
I sound like my dad now. Back in the day, bullying was done face to face.
Yeah.
If you hated me, you would have had to say it to my face.
Yeah.
And now people have the freedom to feel like they can say what they want. I think for me, the social media ban, I think it shouldn't be a ban. It should be managed by people that are complete separate entities to the islanders themselves.
Yes.
Because there is a big disparity in, like, I know people that had social media professionals handle their accounts. And you can tell in the disparity between followers, engagement.
Yes, us.
I wasn't really there for followers anyway.
I know.
It was, when I tell you, it was an application of a joke in a group chat. This is the group chat that escalated my life to that. So I've learned the hard way. Don't get encouraged by your friends. Everything happens for a reason,
peer
right?
Pressure.
But I'm a sucker for peer pressure. You guys know.
That's the wrong answer.
No, it is. I'm a grown woman. I shouldn't give in to peer pressure. But sometimes, it just gets like that.
It was good peer pressure.
It was good peer pressure. We thought we took it very lightheartedly.
Yeah.
But I always think that there is a disparity, and I think that everybody should be given a level playing field. Mm-hmm. Social media managers with like standardized content, or people that are able to filter out certain comments, abuse, because now my biggest concern is that these islanders leave and they have to read everything, especially if they've been in there from start to finish, because that's 8 weeks of abuse that you've got to troll your way through.
Yeah, that's not cool. And that's the thing, as you said, with real social media managers, not only can they delete all that stuff, but they also know how to shut certain things down.
Yeah.
And they have a team of people who are trained to know how to deal with these things, whereas me and our group chat, we were a bit like, oh my God, dude, what did this person just say?
But you like, you know, you like you were saying about, I put myself in the public eye, so I should have to deal with it. Like I've said, you didn't, but you were not free from backlash either.
No.
I know, like
No.
it might be, you're not as comfortable as me talking about anything and everything. So like, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
No, go for it. Let's do it.
But like, I know.
You don't want to make me feel uncomfortable?
That's why I lick your hand when you're just looking at my
Seriously?
teeth.
I feel like your whole aim in life is to make me uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
Makes me sound like a terrible friend.
Yeah, you are. No, I love you.
I'm not that bad. I do walk into your flat and be like, what's for dinner?
No, literally, you are our adopted child.
I am your only husband's child, and I'm very sorry. Actually, I'm not even sorry.
You're not even. No, you're not.
I'm
sorry.
not gonna lie.
You're like, I'll have a number 3 and I'll have a number 10, please.
And I just sit there. I'm like, I'm really hungry.
When's it coming?
But like, you weren't free from trolling yourself,
Yes.
and it was down to filler.
Yes.
Essentially, that was all it was down to. Nothing else.
Which. I did. Of course, I didn't deal with anything as like in even half of what you did, but I found it really upsetting because it's my whole career. It's what I pride myself on. But of course, when you went into the villa, as we both know, your lips expanded. Like
they did
expanded.
Wow.
Because of course I practice in Manchester. Manchester is cold and rainy. Like there is no expansion there. So
apart from literally the day it's administered. That's it.
A little bit of swelling and that's it. But yeah, while you're out there for all that time, I think, I know they made sure that you drank a lot of water, but it can be
they
due to
counted how many
dehydration.
bottles you drank.
Yeah.
But it was that hot that it could have been dehydration as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you also looked quite different when you were
Bits
on
of my face
TV.
looked distorted, didn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
So seeing you there and then seeing you back in real life, I was like, I know that you didn't look like your lips weren't as big as they were
They
in the
weren't
show.
that big when I left the UK.
No, 100%, because I wouldn't have done that.
No, and I know you wouldn't
and you
have
wouldn't
done
have
that.
allowed me to do that either. So, hearing that backlash, I think as a dentist, we're we are perfectionists. It's just it's part of who we are, and we are very hard on ourselves. And then hearing and seeing those comments I took them quite hard.
Yeah, and we were saying like about them expanding, that when I literally came back to the UK and the expansion had disappeared, people were literally coming up to me being like, I'm so glad you've had them dissolved. And I'd be like, what? Had what dissolved? I don't know what you're talking about. But like, it was comment, because there was a video of me and another ex-islander at a bar, and the video must have got 250,000 likes, and there was just comment after comment being like, I'm so glad she's had them dissolved. It was literally the second week I was out of quarantine. And I was like, I haven't done anything.
No, because we didn't dissolve them for a little while, did we?
A year, the March after the show, the March I left. It's 8 months.
Whoa, yeah, it was a while.
It's been over a year now. But people still ask me now, you can confirm, I've not had anything done since.
No. It's us.
Apart from my teeth, I've had, what my aligners
yes,
called?
You've had clear aligners.
So I've had my teeth done.
We're almost there now,
We're
aren't
almost
we?
there, but I haven't had anything else done.
No.
And everyone thinks I'm lying. So you can confirm that I'm not lying.
No, you are not lying.
But I
think you naturally have that little flick,
I
don't
do.
you? Because your
I
dad
do.
says as well. I remember your dad says.
My dad made a comment about my lip filler. And my mum had to get baby photos out of literally me fresh out the womb with my little slip and slide.
Oh, yeah.
It is a little slide, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
I've never noticed it until my dad pointed it out.
Nice.
Thanks, Dad.
Dads are great for that, aren't they?
Likes
Why
to
do
give
they
me a
do
little
that to
complex
us?
about my mouth. Cheers. But no, you can tell that this is not very well, I say well planned. I haven't sat here and planned loads of questions. I always want to ask you about turkey teeth though. It is one of my biggest icks. Like, you know, that I couldn't date somebody that had them. And you, from a health perspective, really don't like them. And I know it's a very hot topic at the moment.
It is. Again, I'm just going to preface it by saying I'm sure there are some absolutely awesome dentists in Turkey.
Yeah. I love how PC she is.
No.
Compared to me anyway.
But there are.
Yeah.
But I think these packages are specifically designed to create a specific kind of look.
Yeah.
Again, do what you want. Cosmetically, it's your face, it's your smile, whatever, but please do it safely. And what is worrying is the amount of destruction that these young people are having done to their teeth in order to have these smiles created. And there's no need for it. I mean, we do veneers in this country, we do crowns in this country. So a veneer is a flat layer of porcelain that's slapped
I call it a
onto
false
the
nail.
Yeah, exactly like a false nail, just slightly different material and a bit smaller.
I hope so.
Never know.
You never know, with trends these days.
And then a crown is where the tooth is. You do cut a little bit. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
It makes me cringe. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
It's the little stumps.
No, but the stumps aren't like stumps. They're not like the stumps that you see on
Are they not meant
TikTok.
to be that small?
Those are very dramatically destroyed teeth, really. They have been cut down far, far, far more than I think is necessary. Personally, you can do really nice conservative dentistry nowadays because materials have come so far that you don't need to have them more than even 0.5 millimeter thick. Whereas these kids are having their teeth literally fired down to pegs. And you just think, well, what's going to happen? Because they're only, in their 20s? And
I'm wondering what you're going to
forever.
see in your dentist chair in 10 years' time.
Exactly. And that's a hot topic amongst dentists at the moment. I'm going to say that again. That's a hot topic amongst dentists at the moment.
I'm just wondering, because there's not that many dentists out and about, is there anyway? Is there enough dentists to be able to tackle?
To be able to do all that.
To tackle the epidemic of what is going to be turkey teeth?
That's why we need to go on TikTok and encourage the next generation to get involved.
All I'm hearing is do more weird things at the dentist.
Yeah, get yourself another dentist. No, I love you.
It's a bit more expensive if I go to someone else. And I think that I'm like a massive health freak and love to look after my teeth. Zara knows if I've been eating too many sweets.
Yes.
Which I do a lot.
Yes.
But the way that these are very heavily marketed campaigns, you've seen it, I get how many messages asking me if I'd do a paid campaign. And if it's for someone in my position in the public eye that has had photos of them taken all the time and you're self-conscious about your teeth, I can see why people would do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think because of you, I know that I shouldn't.
Yeah. So I think the consent process is optimum, and I don't think there is enough education out there that shows people there are other ways of improving their smiles, whether it's... Honestly, a lot of the time people have some whitening and they're quite happy with the results and they think, do you know what? That's all I needed to do to feel better about my smile.
With teeth and fillers, people are influenced by cost.
Absolutely, unfortunately. But that's the thing, it's like a short-term saving for a long-term expense, It's not going to last forever. Exactly.
It's your face. If there's one thing that you should spend money on, it's your face.
Do it once, do it properly, sorted. Instead of
now we sound like my dad.
We do.
Now we sound like my dad.
I've accepted it. I've
got to the age now where I sound like my dad, and I know that he's going to sit there and laugh at it, but I'm not.
Wisdom, it's good.
Don't tell him that. Can we take that bit out of the episode? Don't tell my dad that. And my final. My final question is. Do you not? Now I'm testing how big of a fan you are. No, I'm joking.
Oh God, pressure.
No, I always ask guests very similar final questions, but I always give them a slight different spin based on things that we've talked about. I want to know what you would say to people that ever doubted your ability to be a successful dentist, maybe in the past or in the future, based on the fact that you are a Black woman.
Oh, I did know that question.
She does listen. Sometimes.
She said it. No, I did. Oh gosh. I can't say what I'd actually like to say.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you'd want to say.
I made it. Gosh, that's hard. And it's hard because I feel like I still meet naysayers. Like I will still have people that come into the clinic and look at me, and then they'll look at the nurse and then try and work out which one of us it is that's going to be treating them. Admittedly, I know I look about 12 half the time, and especially when I've got a high pony and my scrubs.
They're pink scrubs.
Yes, they are. Of course they're pink scrubs. So I can appreciate where that comes from. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an ongoing thing. I'm really pleased with where I've gotten to at the moment. And it's only sometimes when you look back, like that photo I posted the other day, I think, oh my God, like 10 years or 10 years plus the 7 years of training, like, well done, Zara.
Yeah, because dentistry is not your first degree. And I figured this out quite late into our friendship. You have 2.
I do.
Yeah. Biomedicine?
Yes, indeed.
I do listen.
You do listen.
Yeah.
Look at us, paying attention to what each other says.
Most of the time it's a load of rubbish, so it just goes
facts
over the head. But we do listen to the important stuff. But I think one of the reasons I wanted to have you like on this podcast is because I do want to see more women that look like you in places where my friends thrive and do really well, and dentistry is the one for you. So like that's why I wanted to put you on here, because just to prove to other black women, the ones that like black teenagers that message me and be like, I want to do this, but there's just no one that looks like me.
Yeah.
And we know how important it is to have someone that looks like you doing what you want to do.
We do. And I think I may have said at the beginning, like, yeah, I saw black medics, but I didn't ever see black dentists. So it's just something that I never even kind of considered prior to that.
If you're a black teenager, woman, man that wants to be a dentist, Zara's your girl. And also if you want to wear pink and be girly,
yes,
and listen to rap music.
Oh my gosh.
Zara ticks all of those boxes.
Place, isn't it?
Zara ticks all of those boxes. Maybe have less clients that are like me and more normal ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the balance is.
But I make the day go quicker.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Or convince myself I'm less weird. But no, honestly, like as a best friend, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
And even when you post your throwbacks, I'm like, I can't believe that she has not aged at all.
Retinol cream. You heard it here first.
Everyone's going to sell out of retinol now. I wish I had that kind of influence, but I don't. But no, thank you so much. And I have my next dentist appointment on next Monday.
Oh gosh, yeah, you do. Fun time.